Sadly, I know what we're talking about today here on the Chin Music Show at TalkNorth.com. Today's lineup: Roy Smalley, former Twins star, former Twins broadcaster, and all-time Twins great. LaVelle Neal III, baseball guru and columnist at the Star Tribune. I'm Jim Souhan from TalkNorth.com and the Star Tribune. And yes, we're going to talk about the Twins here on Chin Music. And yes, we are going to talk about injuries because that seems to be what defines this franchise so often. Roy, I'm going to go just really big picture with you first, and then we're going to get some details with LaVelle. I just feel like if you look through Twins history, whether it's Tony Oliva's knees or Puckett waking up blind one day in training camp, or Justin Morneau sliding into second base and suddenly having a spate of concussions, or Joe Mauer's knees and back, or Royce Lewis, Byron Buxton, now Pablo Lopez. It just feels like the injuries to the Twins seem more devastating than other franchises' injuries seem to them. What do you think?
I've been trying to think about that. I mean, trying to remove my geography bias, and my emotional bias from this as best I can. Trying to look at other teams, and as objectively as I can, I just can't think of another team that has gone through just the long-term run of injuries to key people, and those injuries to key people being similar in terms of importance to the lineup or importance to the pitching staff, as all throughout the various decades, right? I mean, and you mentioned it correctly. I mean, Tony Oliva starting the whole deal, and you run. We had I think the Twins had a run, through the 80s and early 90s, when coincidentally they won a World Series and 2 World Series. But yeah, it gets rekindled, with Joe Mauer and Justin Morneau, and on and on, right? And it's not just a key player missing 2 months, during a given season. I mean, that happens. George Brett was hurt for, on and off a couple of times, but he played a boatload of Hall of Fame games, right? And I think of, various teams that have missed various players. The worst probably is what Mike Trout could have been, what the Angels might have been had he not had so many injuries. Yep. That comes to mind in most recent memory. But just on and on and on and on for the Twins. I can't, as objective as I try to be, I can't think of another similar example.
Yeah, we could even go to Liriano walking off the mound in 2006, best Twins team.
That's the one I was going to bring up too, because the Liriano thing. Terry Ryan was looking at going to the postseason with Johan Santana and Francisco Liriano in the rotation, and that would have been hell for opponents to deal with. No doubt about it.
All right, LaVelle. So tell us, let's get through what's going on in Twins camp. Pablo Lopez shut down for the season. David Festa, who, as Roy has described him, maybe one of the more promising guys among the young arms, maybe the most major league ready to kind of take a step forward. He's shut down for a while. We're going to wait and see whether Joe Ryan's minor setback ends up affecting his ability to start an opening day. And then Royce Lewis had an MRI. The MRI came back clean, but still the fact that Royce Lewis, all these things are happening. We haven't gotten to March yet, LaVelle.
I know. But we also have to consider there's been worse injuries across. Well, Pablo Lopez is bad, but there's other teams that have been hit with some injuries at the beginning of camp too. And guys have had to back out of the WBC. But yeah, it's been, and the Royce thing too. I'm actually stunned at how often he has injuries when he's running. He's running the bases and he pulls something or pops something. There's a quad going, and now he felt a little bit of something. And I guess he was contemplating not telling the training staff and toughing it out until Josh Bell said, "Look, dude, no one is going to give a damn what you did against the Pittsburgh Pirates in the February game." So he came to his senses and mentioned it. Ryan threw about 10 or a dozen pitches or so yesterday. Felt pretty good. So it looks like he's going to throw a bullpen on Saturday and is in position to face live hitters after that. That's a relief because he's the ace of the staff with Pablo being out. I am concerned he's still expressing some sort of optimism that he can pitch in the World Baseball Classic. That makes me a little nervous. I think when you have a arm setback like he had early in camp, and the tournament's coming up next month, that just gives me pause for concern. I would like to see him focus on getting ready for opening day. But, he's talking about watching the Olympics, and he's got the patriotism flowing through his veins now, and he wants to represent the red, white, and blue, and that's fine, but you have to do it in the right way. And so I just hope they're really cautious with him and how they move forward with him, because the Twins have the starting pitching depth and the starting pitching inventory that they were proud of going into camp has now been depleted. Looks like Todd Bradley's going to be in. Last time we talked about this, I'd said I'm writing down Simeon Woods Richardson as a member as a rotation, and it looks like he's a lock now. Todd Bradley backed out of pitcher from Mexico because he sees that he's got a chance to be on the opening day rotation, and that leaves us to Mick Abel, and we're down to Andrew Morris now as the backup to the backup. And Morris got rocked the other day in spring training, so. The Twins have to be careful with Ryan, and even if he wants to pitch in the World Baseball Classic, I would say, well, you can pitch, but I don't know if I want you to start a game. If you want to pitch an inning or two, yeah, but I'd be worried about that. Other pitcher, I can't remember. Someone's going to. I think it's Tariq Skubal, right? He's going to make one start, and then he's not going to pitch anymore. There's a big picture thing here that I hope Ryan has to take into consideration before he makes a decision to pitch in the WBC.
Hey, this is.
I'll say, you guys, I got to tell you, I got to tell you, if you're in spring training, if you come to spring training and you're working out with the club and you're getting ready to play spring training games and you get a tweak of something, you're done for the WBC. I mean, you're just done. Forget it. In case closed, you're done. You're gonna start opening day healthy, and there's nothing. I mean, there's things you can't control and the things you can control. And you always try to really work hard on the things you can control. And what you can control is not pitching when you've had a little tweak somewhere, and taking it real easy so that you help your club. I am the most patriotic guy there is in the world, and I want to see everybody play for the United States in the World Baseball Classic. But there is a way bigger picture here in terms of what you're contractually signed up to do for your team that pays you money, and you gotta say no. I mean, unfortunately, I got a little something. I'm going to fix it, and we're going to give them hell when the season starts.
Yep. Well, hey, let's take care of the business here. We're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services Studio. Chin Music is presented by OnX Maps. I'll tell you more about our sponsors here in a little bit. Is there any logic? Okay, I'm going to offer one premise, then ask a question. One of my premises about the Twins is this is where having a limited payroll hurts them, because if they lose a star player, there's just not much depth. There's not much option of replacing that player. But I still think the number of injuries is ridiculous. And we've seen them change over training staffs and bring in somebody, Nick Paparesta, who's widely respected throughout the organization, throughout Major League Baseball, and was highly regarded with Tampa and knew Rocco and everybody, there at Tampa. I don't, is there any logic to the spate of injuries?
I don't know, Jim. I don't know how you can put your finger on it, just because the nature of pitching across baseball. A lot of teams have pitching injury issues. The Rays are just emerging from a stretch where they had like a 5-year run in which they had like 12 Tommy John surgeries among their pitchers. Are they training differently? And here's the other thing too. This is the max effort generation. You got guys going to drive line and trying to throw as hard as they possibly can. You got pitchers now trying to throw 5 or 6 or 7 different pitches. And I think all that, it can come at a cost at times. And yeah, the Twins have changed over their training staff multiple times. Like in the last 5 years, I think they've had like 4 different trainers. And then they're paying a guy hundreds of thousands of dollars in Chris Camp to oversee athletic performance, and guys are still breaking down, and it's not just pitchers, it's guys like Royce Lewis, so, but in terms of pitching, I just think the way the game is played and the way pitchers are built and the zero body fat generation and guys not going out and having a steak of potatoes once in a while and throwing with max effort, I think it just catches up on the human body and it catches up with the pitcher's eye.
Well, we've talked about this a lot, and everybody talks about it. Why are there so many injuries? I don't have a theory at all, because I'm not. I mean, kinesiologically, I'm not. I mean, I don't know if you get super strong muscles and it can't the extra strength in musculature, it can't be supported by the tendons and ligaments that attach the muscles. I mean, I don't know if that makes a difference. I know that you can build muscle, but you can't really build bigger tendons. You can't build bigger ligament. You can't do that. So I don't know if that has something to do with it. It could. One of the things that strikes me, what LaVelle just said, strikes me as that we're going to throw this into the pot of all of the various theories about all of this, and in the context of, I don't remember. I remember when Tommy John got his, what's the word, eponymous surgery.
Nice, good word.
Yeah.
Nobody really had that. They didn't. Oh, that's the problem. And 12 guys go down. Get the surgery. That didn't happen. That happened when during my career or right before. And so and Tommy pitched throughout most of my career, and everything was fine, and nobody else really had that much, and guys weren't breaking down that much. And I don't remember a team where they lost Nolan Ryan out for the season, and I was, oh man, we don't have to face that act this year. That's pretty great. I mean, I would remember, Vita Blue. Oh, no more Vita Blue. That's great. No Catfish Hunter. Oh, I mean, it didn't happen. To these major figures on the mound, specifically talking about pitchers. And now it's happening on the regular. And what LaVelle said is curious to me. So I'm just wondering, if you come up at a sensitive time in your physical development, early, late teens, early 20s, and you throw 91, and all of a sudden you're taught mechanics and different things to get you to 97. Is that supposed to happen? I mean, if your natural kinesiology has you throwing 91, I can see change this mechanic, change that mechanic. Now you're throwing 93, maybe 94. But now, I mean, is that really supposed to happen? I don't know, but that is a difference. That never happened, when I was playing. And I don't want to be the guy who says, back in my day. I'm just saying that for a long time, no pitcher was doing that in the off season, right? You threw as hard as you threw, and you developed other things to counteract if you felt like you didn't throw hard enough. Tell Greg Maddux he needed to throw six miles an hour faster. Tell Catfish Hunter. It didn't matter. So now on top of that, I'm thinking about LaVelle's point about they're trying to develop four different more pitches. Okay, what does that mean? Here's someone tells you, here's how you throw this fadeaway changeup or this split finger or this slurve, right? Is okay. What is that? I'm just going to throw it. Now you taught me how to throw it on the side. Now I'm going to warm up and go and start throwing that. No, you go down in your bullpens and you're trying to get your 97 under control. Now, let me throw 100 slurves to learn how to do that. Let me throw 100 splitters, and let me, work in this cutter. And now, I mean, are you throwing more pitches and more elbow stress from different not so much arm angles, but from different wrist snap at the end, or, whatever it is? Now, all of a sudden, you're not just throwing fastball, slider, changeup. Your elbow's doing more work on the fastball, and 2 or 3 more pitches that put different stress on your elbow than what the 3 pitches were putting stress on your elbow before? I don't know, but I think it's. I just look at what's the reason. You look at, okay, what was going on before and what's going on now. To me, that just leaps out as the biggest difference as to what's going on.
That's a great point, because I know you lived the game. I read everything I could about the game growing up, and great pitchers had 2 or 3 really good pitches, and they refined them. And they said they weren't always looking for an extra 5 miles an hour. They weren't even necessarily looking for an extra pitch. They just wanted to do what they did really well and have command and control. The other thing that jumped out at me, what you said is, nobody had ever heard of Tommy John surgery. As soon as they became available, everybody had them. I also there was a time when nobody in sports or sports medicine had ever mentioned the word oblique. And then as soon as one guy had an oblique injury, everybody had an oblique injury.
I never heard of an oblique injury when I was playing. I don't know of one guy that had one. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. I don't remember ever hearing about it.
It used to be called a rib cage muscle injury, I believe. And I remember covering the Royals, and Bob Hamlin, had a muscle inside injury, and they told him it was an oblique, and he was like, I didn't even know I had an oblique. So that was like the early mid 90s when the whole oblique thing started. So it's just part of just continuing
Chin
trends,
Music
I guess.
is coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio.
Scott for Aquarius Home Services, wishing you a warm and cozy Happy New Year. Not so cozy? Still relying on that furnace that's, well, not so reliable? Here's the fix for 2026. Enjoy no payments and no interest for 6 months on a new high-efficiency whole home heating and cooling system. Enjoy today and don't pay until this summer. Schedule your free estimate today at AquariusHomeservices.com. Financing based on credit approval. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended.
And there's still time. Ice fishing is still sticking around, so it's time to hit the frozen water with Onyx Fish. The Fish app is the most comprehensive fishing tool for increasing your confidence on ice. Use Onyx Fish to find new places to fish and sort lakes by species, abundance, trophy, and keeper potentials. Onyx Fish also shows you hot spots, lake-by-lake regulations, and private and public land ownership information. For a limited time, download Onyx Fish for free in Minnesota and Wisconsin. Or go to onyxmaps.com/fish. You get more information on the app that is changing the game on ice. LaVelle, any other intriguing developments for you on the news side down in Fort Myers?
Well, I think the Twins are happy what they have in terms of left-handed relievers. Getting Anthony Banda from the Dodgers and pairing him with Cody Thunderberg and a couple other guys. I think they like what they have from the left side of their bullpen, but it seems like they continue to tweak with the right-handed side of their bullpen, because they just claimed Zach Kent off waivers from the Cardinals, I believe. And Kent's been on the move here. I think this is the 4th time he's been claimed in like the last year or so. He was claimed by the Cardinals twice in the last few months, and now the Twins picked him up. Kent doesn't throw super hard, but apparently he has a wipeout slider, and that slider has served him well. I guess in AAA last year, he had a 2.84 ERA and struck out 50 in 38 innings. So it looks like he's got the ability to miss bats. But I'm just wondering, looking at their depth chart here, are they worried a little bit what they're seeing right-handed from the right-handers they have in the bullpen?
Yeah, it's true. It's really too bad they couldn't have somebody like a Louis Varland or somebody like them.
Or Yohan Duran.
Well, I mean, even if you think we're going to trade Duran, he's going to make too much money, we're going to get some really great prospects. So, okay, I get that. How long is it going to be before whoever they got for Louis Varland comes up and makes the impact that Louis would make on this bullpen? If they're really worried about tweaking the right-hand side, how long? How long will it be before we say, "Oh, that was a good trade"?
Well, and that's the thing is that I remember talking to, a big name former Twin who he's famous, and I won't mention his name because it was off the record conversation. But I won't put his name out there. But I ended up talking to him a week or two after the trades were made and just say, "Okay, now that things have calmed down, what do you think?" And he's like, "Hey, I get most of the deals, and once you start trading, you're going to trade more because you're kind of giving up on the season." But he said, if they just kept like either Varland or Duran, I'd feel so much better about this team.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way you could let them both go. And it's almost like they just got in. It is almost like it was a shark frenzy. Once they decided they were going to treat what this fellow was saying is that they got trade happy, and it's almost like the momentum took over and they had no control over it. They just said, someone came along and said, hey, we'd like to leave early. We sure send us somebody. You can have them.
All right, let's do our booze and blues segment. I don't know if you guys have contributions this week. I'll start it off this way. I should spend more time listening to new music. I have family members who are in the music industry who recommend new stuff all the time. And there are brilliant artists coming up and they're fantastic. And I will never diminish their accomplishments or what they achieve or what they create. But I'm an old school guy, and I just find myself every once in a while hearing a song that sends me back in time. And I go back and revisit an album that I used to love that I had forgotten about or hadn't listened to in a while. And Elvis Costello's first album is stunning. You go back and every song is fantastic. Some of them are still with us. I just don't think you can have much better debut album than Elvis Costello when it kind of came out of nowhere. And now he's become the kind of guy who does jazz standards and, he does everything. And he's done TV shows. Spectacle with Elvis Costello was an incredible TV show where he'd have on Sting or Springsteen and all kinds of different people, to talk about their careers and play live with his band. So Elvis Costello, if you don't know who he is, go check him out. Do you guys, anybody else have a contribution this week?
Well, I'm just going to throw, you talk about old school, and I'm with you. I tend to, the newer stuff that I listen to, I tend to gravitate toward, let me surf around and find out, who's playing the blues these days, and what typically older guys that are playing blues guitar that I haven't spent a lot of time with. So that's kind of where I've been as well. In that vein, I want to tell you about. Go look this up at YouTube. On YouTube, look up Buddy Whittington, who was maybe the longest lead guitarist for the Mayall's Blues Breakers. He plays this wonderful guitar lead on Mists of Time, which is my favorite Mayall song of all time. It's wonderful. I talked about that before, but I said, this guy was so good in that. Let me surf around, and I reading about Buddy Whittington, and man, can this guy play? But I saw something on YouTube, Buddy Whittington and Clapton. I go, really? So I clicked on this, and there's a song. A Mayall song where he's got Buddy Whittington and Clapton playing with it. It's a live performance, and now I'm blanking on the name of it. It's something about I think, do you know her or have you met her or something like that. But if you Google or just go to YouTube, and do Whittington Clapton, you're going to find this song, this Mayall song that they do live, and Whittington plays first, and Clapton's young in this, and I couldn't even recognize him. So Whittington's playing, and he's just killing it. I'm going, man, is this good? And there's this young guy standing kind of behind him and to the side. And I go, man, that looks like a young Eric Clapton. And then Whittington gets done playing, and this guy steps forward. I go, man, it is Clapton. And then Clapton just blows the whole roof off the place. So that's my contribution. And I'm sorry I can't think of the actual name, but I didn't know the name of the song when I found it. It was just Buddy Whittington with Clapton. And there it was, and it is a gem.
That sounds awesome. It seems like how the great ones always kind of dabble in different type of music and collaborate with other artists. And I think that's what makes them so great, because they're so well-rounded.
No doubt about it. Good stuff, gentlemen. I appreciate it. Next week, let's try to find something other than injuries to talk about. I hope the Twins cooperate and allow us to talk about something other than injuries. I think next week we'll talk about some of the sleepers in camp, some of the fringe players who could end up being important for this franchise. For today,
I will be in Fort Myers next Friday
beautiful.
when we record. So I'll be, boots will
Good
be
deal.
on the ground down there.
Nice.
That'll be very
Nice.
helpful. Cool. Looking forward to LaVelle's perspective next week. For this week, for Roy Smalley, LaVelle Neal III, I'm Jim Souhan. This is TalkNorth.com, and thanks for listening.